But what if I told you there's people outside of the Bible, people that have no dog in this fight, that would have no reason to try to prove to you or I that Jesus was real, that they wrote about him too? Because that was where my faith was struggling. I was like, if this Jesus existed and he did all these things, shouldn't somebody else have seen it? Around 115 to 200 AD, there was a man by the name of Lucian of Samosata. And Lucian was a Greek satirist who spoke sarcastically of Christ and Christians, but in all of his sarcasm, he actually affirmed some of the things that we believe to be true in the Bible. So let's bring up the first part. Lucian said, he wrote this: the Christians, worship a man to this day, the distinguished personage who introduced their novel rights and was crucified on that account. Wait, what? You see, these misguided creatures, no, that's all of us, start with the general conviction that they are immortal for all time, which explains the contempt of death and voluntary self-devotion, which are so common among them. And then it was impressed on them by their original lawgiver that they are all brothers from the moment that they're converted and deny the gods of Greece and worship the crucified sage and lived after his laws. Now, he refers to this man being crucified twice. Can I tell you something? It's real hard to crucify people that don't really exist. These misguided creatures would have been the followers of this Christ, this crucified sage that he talks about here. So what are some of the things we can gather from what he just wrote? Number one, Jesus lived. Obviously, he had enough influence where he had some people that this gentleman sees as misguided following him. He said that these teachings were adopted about eternal life. They have no fear of death. They believe they're going to live forever. They believe they're all brothers and sisters. Well, you know what? I found some of this. And in John chapter 5, verse 24, it tells us, very truly I tell you, whoever hears my words and believes him who sent me has eternal life and will not be judged, but has crossed over from death to life. Matthew chapter 12, verse 46 through 50, while Jesus was still talking to the crowd, his mothers and brothers stood outside wanting to speak to him. And someone told him, your mother and brothers are standing outside. They're looking for you. And he replied to them, who is my mother and who are my brothers? Pointing to his disciples, he said, here is my mother and my brothers. For whosoever does the will of my Father in heaven is my brother, my sister, and my mother. I'm seeing some correlation between what Jesus was teaching and what this person is saying he taught.